Hey everyone, I hope you had a very good Thanksgiving break. We are winding down the semester, as you know. And so, what we are devoting the final 2 weeks of the course to is your portfolio. So, this portfolio acts as the final in your class. So, you can just think of it as we are spending the last 2 weeks working on your final for the class. And in last week's week 14 overview, I went into detail about the portfolio assignment. So if you didn't watch that video, please go back and watch that from the announcements for week 14. What I'm going to go over today is, what I'm going to go over in this video is what you're going to be doing this week to work towards that portfolio that you'll be turning in next Friday. First of all, you should be getting your course evaluation emails from the university soon if you haven't gotten them already. So please make sure that you take the time to fill those out. Those are very important. And what we're going to do to work towards our portfolio this week is to get basically the skeleton built with the portfolio check 1, to get a peer response from your group to the portfolio checks, to the document that you create, and then to come up with a revision plan and then revise those portions of your portfolio. Okay, so for the portfolio check, this what it's called a check, just to basically check that you're getting started on it. Okay, so this is a way to get you started. So you're going to build the shell of your portfolio in Google Docs. And you're going to build it in the same way that you've been doing your other Google Docs. You'll need to first open up your writing team folder so that your group members will be able to see it. And the name of your file will be Words 1104 Portfolio, your first and last name. Okay, and then you're going to create 5 sections for the student learning outcomes. So each section so you have a link to the student learning outcomes here, and each section will be designated as heading 1. So you'll have 5 sections, and I'm going to show you an example of this in a minute. And then what you're going to do for each of the key terms, and I went over this in our video last week, is to pull out any key terms or phrases that stick out to you as something that you'd want to talk about in relation to your own work that you've done in the class. So think about the portfolio as a final that you're working on slowly, and the purpose of the portfolio is to show any learning or new understandings that you've had about writing, reading, or research or inquiry throughout the semester. So these do not need to be dramatic shifts in your understanding. You're looking for small shifts because that's what happens in a 16-week course. Okay, so you want to come up with 2 key terms or phrases, and you're going to put those with each of the SLOs. And then you want to choose 3 artifacts for each of your SLOs. So artifacts are anything that you have written for this course. It has to be for this course. Any excerpts that you've written, or excerpts or full assignments that you want to include, or just links to those. Okay, so you can decide how you do that. I have some instructions here for, depending on what kind of source you're using, how you'll need to link to it. And then you'll also want to label each one. Okay, so this is what you're doing for the first portfolio check. You are creating the shell by putting the 5 headings with each of the student learning outcomes. You are then choosing the artifacts that go along with each of the SLOs and the key terms that you have chosen. Okay, and you are linking to them and labeling them. So you're not, if you want to get started on the writing, you can, but you do not have to at this point. We are just building the shell. So basically you're putting together the things that you will then write about in the next step, okay, next week. So I have started one just so you can see what I mean. I have not picked out any key terms from the SLOs, but I've got my Google Doc here, and you can see that I've got each of the SLOs here. You're going to have a cover page, and remember from the assignment that you're going to do that last. So just leave that as a blank page for now. And then simply you're going to have an SLO. You can design these however you want. I've copied and pasted them as heading 1s from the SLO document. The SLOs are also listed in the portfolio assignment. So you've got SLO 1. What you want to do now is go and look closer at the SLO and the bullet points under it, and just jot down any key terms or phrases that stick out to you. Okay, if you want to have 2, at least 2. If you have more than that, that's fine, but you want to have at least 2. And then you'll also want to copy and paste or insert screenshots of 3 artifacts. So you're just going to put all that under this heading. Okay, and then you'll move on to SLO 2. All right, and do the same thing. So you'll want to find 2 key terms or phrases that you want to focus on, and 3 artifacts here, and so on and so on. Okay, so I've designated just a page for each of them, but yours will probably be longer, will definitely be longer than a page each, because you'll be inserting those artifacts, which will take up more space. But for right now, you just need the artifacts and the key terms and the SLOs for this first portfolio check. Okay, and then on Wednesday, you are submitting your reader's guide. So you're submitting this because we want to get it all finalized and get it turned in so you can really focus on the portfolio assignment for the final 2 weeks of class. So I know some people have already turned this in. You want to just follow these instructions. Make sure that you go over the checklist again, especially, so make sure you've got everything, and follow these instructions for saving the document as a PDF. So you're going to submit that. Make sure that you've got everything as you want it before you save it as a PDF, because once you turn it in, you cannot turn it in again. Okay, so this is your final submission for this, and you can see I have the rubric here breaking down how each portion of the reader's guide is graded. So turning those in Wednesday so that you can focus really fully on the portfolio. Okay, and then this is also what you're doing Wednesday, is reading and respond to each of your group members' portfolio draft using the Google Comments feature. Okay, so you're checking that they've got that shell built correctly. All right. And then on Friday, we don't have any more studios, but I'm working in some of your work on the portfolio for Friday. So you're going to talk about what you need to do to edit that shell of your portfolio. Okay, so what are some things that you need to work on, and what do you plan to do before we move on to the next phase? So that's it for this week. It's obviously a lot that you are doing, and feel free, if you want to work ahead on the portfolio and start doing the new writing that needs to be done, you can look ahead to the second portfolio check next week to get a head start on that. But remember that this is your final. We do not have a final in the class. So if you see one listed for our class, a date or time, that is not, we do not meet for a final. This is your final. Okay, so post questions that you have to the Ask Professor forum, and just do your best as we get started, and let me know if you have any questions.